Hi friends! Today I'm going to be sharing with you a variation on the Knit 2 Together Bind Off, done in the round, binding off all of your stitches, but today I'm going to show you how to do it if you only have to bind off some of your stitches. So let's start. You need, for today we're working with a 1x1 ribbing. We have our needles here. So here we go. You start by, let's start with not binding off. Let's start with a slip, slip, knit. And we're going to work ribbing. And I'll end this with a knit 2 together. Now we've finished that and I'm going to start the bind off. So I can get rid of this marker. I don't need it anymore. The first step is to purl. Now I need to bind off this stitch. I have a knit stitch next. So I have my yarn to the back. I'm going to slip the stitch that I just worked over to the left needle. Because this is a knit stitch, I'm going to knit 2 together through the back loop. So really, when you slide that over, you don't even have to take this needle out. You slide it on through, knit 2 together through the back loop. Oop. Here we go. Slide both of those off, and I have decreased or bound off one stitch. Next, I have a purl stitch. So I need to bring my working yarn to the front. I'm going to slip the stitch I just worked back to the left needle and purl 2. Just like normal, purl 2 together. Slide those off, and I have bound off 2 stitches. Now you notice I've worked 3 stitches, but I've only bound off 2. So let's do this again. I have my yarn to the back because I'm going to knit. Slip it over. You can take your needle out if you like, or you can leave it in there. Slide it into both through the back loop. Knit 2 together, bring it on off. Purl stitch, so I bring my yarn to the front. Slip my stitch over. Purl 2 together. Yarn goes to the back, stitch comes over to the left needle, knit 2 together, yarn comes to the front, stitch goes over to the left needle, purl 2 together, yarn came back, stitch to the left needle, knit 2 together through the back loops. Now I'm going to pause for a second and show you what this does. When you knit 2 through the back loop, your stitches will be twisted there at the top. So actually, if this is at the top of a twisted rib, it would fit perfectly. If you didn't do that, this leg would come up over the bound off ridge here, which if you want that for your decorative edge, it makes a very nice decorative edge. But for this case, if you want to keep it under that chain edge there, knitting through the back loop will twist this, but it will keep it under there. So let's keep going. We're on a purl now. Bring it to the front, slip the stitch over, purl 2 together. Yarn goes to the back, stitch comes to left needle, knit 2 together. Yarn comes to the front, stitch comes over, purl 2 together, yarn comes back, needle goes, or stitch comes to the left, knit 2 together through the back loops, front, slip, purl 2 together, back, slip, knit 2 together through the back loops. Okay, so I have bound off all of my stitches that I need to bind off except for this last one. To bind this last purl off, I'm going to be including it in this next slip slip knit. So to bind this off, when you have a slip slip knit, you have to change this just slightly. You're going to slip that stitch over, and you are going to knit 2 together, just a normal knit two together. So knit 2 together, there we go. So now all of our stitches are bound off, and we're ready to work our slip slip knit. To do this, we have to slip this guy back over and then work the slip slip knit. 1, 2, knit those 2 together through the back loop. So this keeps a nice edge, a nice straight line for that ribbed line. If you did it this way, you'd have a line going across. If you knit 2 together through the back loop, like we have through the rest, you'd have a bar coming across here. And we don't want that. So you knit 2 together, just a standard knit 2 together, slip it back over, work your knit 2 together. Oh, sorry, work your slip slip knit. Now I'm going to work in ribbing. I'm going to work my knit 2 together. Here we go. So there are live stitches. That's one of the things I like about this bind off, is that you can continue knitting even if you bind off stitches. If you have a sewn bind off where you cut the yarn and have to use a darning needle, you can't keep knitting, at least not nearly as easily. So here we go. Now we're going to start this and work this exactly the same as we did on when we first started. You start with a purl. Now you have to slip this back. We have a knit stitch first. So our yarn is at the back, slip the stitch over and knit 2 through the back loop. Okay, and we are going to work exactly the same, bringing it forward, back, slipping our stitches until we get to the last stitch, and I will show you how to work that after I knit across these. I'll see you in just a moment. I finished my bind off. I'm back to the beginning of round. I'm going to take that marker off, and once again I'm going to slip this over, and I'm going to work a knit 2 together, just a standard knit 2 together. There we go. Now, when I'm ready to work my next stitches, I don't need to slip this back over. I'm ready just to move on with the pattern. This will suffice as your first knit stitch, and then you just keep working the pattern as it states. So for now, I'm going to switch this over just so I don't lose that stitch. And you can see this lovely edge for a bind off. Sits nicely, it's stretchy, but it won't flop over on you. It's sturdy enough, but it still gives you some space to move your knitting around. So thank you so much for joining me today to learn this variation on the knit 2 together bind off for ribbing. I'll see you next time. Bye.